Is it 3/4 inches wide?
This is a good question. So they vary. Some of them, this one is not very wide at all. It's like maybe like and the smaller end is even more narrow yet. But I have another one that has a much wider. It's my other stick is out in the car, so I can't get it. But they can vary. And Master Guo Naihui, the guy that was teaching this, he said the more variance that you can get, the better. Which gets into a weird philosophy, like it's like caveman club. He said the more change you can get, heavier from one end to thinner at the other, the better. And once you get the wrist tricks, some of these hand tricks that he does, that may make more sense, because the thing is that you can hide the weight of the stick in its movement, right? By keeping it moving, you can change the weight. This is the way airplanes work, is once they're flying, right? The weight is off the thing. So once this thing has centrifugal movement happening to it, the weight, it isn't as heavy. So even if I had a club end on one end, I can make this figure 8 shape and have it spinning in air rather freely. So to answer your question, you want them to be pretty thin, right? The name of it is whipstick. They would have been used. These were carriage drivers, basically stagecoach operators. And they'd have a leather tassel, and they would use it, so it wouldn't be super heavy. But for a weapon is where you want the heavier end on one end and the thinner one on the other. For a walking stick, if you like something to take when you go hiking with the family, something like this, you can keep something just regular type stick. One of the important things is that it's smooth enough to wah-bah. Some of the ones, I'll send you a link where you can get some white waxwood off Amazon. I think that they're like between $30 and $50 a piece. I don't know what the price is nowadays. But those ones come pre-sanded. But even ones that aren't sanded, they still have little bumps and stuff on it. They're still smooth enough to handle. You can still run your hands over that type of stick. Yeah, go ahead.
For what it's worth, I just measured the one that Brian cut for me, which is 1 inch wide at the bottom end and 3/4, about 7/8 at the top.
Okay.
And it feels pretty thin, but so I was a little surprised to find that it actually is 1 inch wide. But,
oh, okay, yeah, it is. Okay, well that's good to know. And you recommend, Brian, just getting it off Amazon?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not,
So, like, if I type in gun sticks, they're going to have...
No. I'll send you a link. It's white waxwood. I don't know how to say white waxwood in Mandarin. There's a specific name for it. But white waxwood is a kind of stick that's weird. The fibers grow the entire length, right? So it's somehow different than other types of wood where the fibers, like muscle tissue, are like intermeshed somehow. It's a weird kind of wood, and so it makes it it can break. I've taken one out to the desert and smashed on it until it broke to see what their breaking point is, but they're very flexible, right? It's it's meant to have this type of flexibility, just like we talked about earlier, messing around in school. Hang on, right? Anyways, we were talking about spinning the pencil on the paper. Anyone know this one? Right? If you have a solid thing, and then if you wiggle it the right way, you can make it look like it's made of rubber. Anyone ever seen that trick? Does it work on this camera? I don't know. Right? This is actually a BIAN idea. This is a BIAN principle. Because we have this same type of when it's going from one side, popping up, the pivot point, making this like a very flexible thing, like a whip, right? So that we can hit. You should be able to hear the sound of the stick. So, I'll get you a link, and then you can cut one. You can cut something out of it. It's pre-sanded, but I buff the edges and stuff. You don't want to get any splinters. Yes. Are we practicing BIAN? You guys want to do something? I cut the recording for the other one, but we can do something here if you want. Let's at least go over the form twice, and then we'll come back and deal with any questions or whatever. For some reason, my camera feels very narrow today. I keep finding myself up against the wall, so I'm going to sort of maybe practice a little bit differently. I have to get the correct camera. But we start in the ready pose. And this isn't Tai Chi, so we don't necessarily have to abide by Tai Chi ideas. But if we do, our BIAN form will be better. So from here, we want to get to the ready stance, still facing our opponent, but you see my shoulders are turned to the side, stepping to block. And then in this block, by the way, we should be sinking. We're going to cast out to the side and then waba. Let me restart because I'm trying to do two things, the form and teaching at the same time. But let's just do the form. Salute, ready, block, cast, waba, elbow, turn, smash, waba, cut up, waba, spinning block, towards the heel, push up to the corner, drilling, high hit, low hit, tip, over the top, turn, 2, 3, waba, step forward and flip into the elbow, reach across and step, turn, scoop, hook, and then turning, smash, waba, pop up, poke back, reset, pop up, poke back, reset, iron fan 1, iron fan 2, left hook, right hook, flip into the elbow, and then from here unwind all the way to smash, waba, smash, turn over the side, catch, hit, and then from here, waba, short block, waba, long block, step forward and waba, salute. Clear, not clear. Go ahead, yeah. Okay, yeah, if you gotta go anytime, it's fine. Bye. Have a great weekend. Let's go at least one more time, right? Just for ordering, just so we have the thing. So starting, I'll do the same, try to do the same direction, is from here, from the ready, block, cast, waba, elbow, flip to smash, waba, cut up, waba, spinning block, point towards your heel, drill, high hit, low hit, tip up, tip forward, step 2, 3. So now we're facing the other direction, and from here we're going to waba, flip up, reach, turn over, scoop, catch, turn, smash. Did I miss something at the beginning of the second section? I don't know, let's find out. Pop up, hit back, reset. Pop up, hit back, reset. Iron fan 1, iron fan 2, left hook, right hook, flip into the elbow, and then from here, za, za, turn, 2, 3, and then if I'm facing the camera, I waba to my right hip, block left, step waba, block right, step waba, salute. Questions, thoughts, comments? This one should be an easy one to practice because it's pretty short form. Yeah, go ahead. If you, yeah. A little bit. I can hear you, but it...
If you start with the thick end up, you get the end that way.
Ah, yes. Right, yes. So this becomes important at this stage. If you're aware of different ends of the stick, we should start with the heavy end down, right? So like if you're using it for a walking stick, you'd put the point at the bottom and the heavy end up top. When we start, we have the heavy end down, right? So you can think of it, by the way, this, you can use this like a sword, right? Like the meow dao. And so you can think of the thinner end, the taper end, just like a sword. You're holding this. But it changes. So when we start, we have the heavy end here. We change, block, cast, waba, and then the heavy end goes out. Smash, and then we change. Now we're holding the heavy end. So this also becomes a little bit of a puzzle for later. We should start and end both holding the thicker end should be at the base of the stick, if that makes sense, right?
I've been starting the other way, but it's all where concept is. But whatever end you start with, that's the end of the end.
That's correct, yeah. But we want to start, the salute starts with holding the thicker end, the heavier end. Yeah. Go ahead, Charlotte, you have a question. Black or white, yeah. And hang on a second, for Mark, yes, if you have a stick that's equal, it's been machined, you can just use black or white and call one end the heavy end and the other end the thin end. And it will make a little bit of a difference later because some of the tricks, like Iron Fan, we're hitting with the heavy end both times, and there's no smaller end. So it will make a little bit of a difference for later for using it as a weapon, especially when we get more into using it like a club than a stick. But for now, you can use it as a means to continue to collect forms and do the form in your the correct way. Yeah, something like that.
Right. That's the concept with the Japanese bow and Japanese Joe is you end it up, finishes up. If it finishes down, you've done something wrong.
Right. Yeah. This form has the same thing, but in the beginning, it's not that important. There's a lot of movements to get to before we start getting that precise for the carrying, something like that. Okay, Charlotte's on a journey over here. She's taking us on a.
Or that I needed my power cord.
Okay.
Mark, I was just going to say to Mark, the place where I always catch myself with the small end, which is the big end, is with Iron Fan, and then Brian, what is it called? Basically the poking.
The poke back? This one?
Yeah, so that's the small end, right? So you're close up.
Yeah. So you're hitting with the big end first, and then poking with the small end on the second one. Right, that's a good example of it because
that's always my best place for double checking whether I'm.
Yeah, because it's very clearly you know which one it is. Later it will become more obvious. In the beginning, you guys are just trying to learn the movement, the routine. So, but then we can focus on that kind of fine tuning specifics later. Yeah.
That's exactly the concept I use. Okay.
Yeah, in fact, the basic exercise gives us a yin and yang, right? We can do, if we just do this warm-up, we can see sort of two different things. If I'm focused on the heavy end, I can be throwing it over the top both sides, right? So I want to throw it to make power, to hit, and throw it, and throw it, throw it. Or I can be focused on the smaller end down here, the poking end, to stab, as opposed to worrying about what's happening up there. Pull, 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 poke, right? As opposed to throw, 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 right? I don't know if you get the difference, but it's just one exercise does two things. Eventually, we can get both. You're hitting on this side and poking on the other. Poke, hit, right? Or hit, poke, hit, poke.
Brian, I just remembered, would you recommend that Mark make markings at the floor this strip of this strip?
Yeah, actually, that's a great note from Mark. Now that you have one that's been cut, if you take something and you take the stick and you put it flush, right? So it's here. So like, if you look from the profile, it's sitting just along the profile of my hand, and you take 1, 2, 3, 4, and at the top of that fourth hand, if you take a pen or pencil or marker, or what I've done in this with this is a gun, or like a heat gun, is I actually have a marker. It looks like a dot right there, and then I have another one down on this end. And so if I do 4 hands, 1, 2, 3, 4, my hand's going to line up in that dot. In the beginning, this fourth grip creates about the proportion of a miao dao, which is that the Chinese broadsword in your hand. And this is the place where we start for the salute, so that you always know where it's at. This also, by the way, is about the 25-75 grip. So if you put your hands about 25% of the way in, 25% of the way in, I call this 25-75, 25-75, right? This is for talking about hand placement. So yeah, this holding it at this sort of fourth hand grip, if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, now that you have, I forgot you have an official size one, and then this kind of thing from the salute to here, all the way through to here, even here, block, until I wob out to this one and change, that hand stays in that place. It's pretty variable. This is a kind of a loose martial art. It's not a free-for-all. There's definitely rules that apply to it, but it's a lot less civilized, right? The Tai Chi has a lot of very alignment rules. This one, it's a lot more orang-utan, which is like a person coming from the jungle, right? This idea of that. Questions, thoughts, comments?
I was just going to say one final thing, Brian. That I really love the fact that since you put this design on for me, I can feel where that is without having to look.
Yeah.
So
that's in addition, yeah, so for Mark, in addition to the cool factor of being able to put on, like, if you want to mark a tiger or a lion or something on the side there, in addition to the cool art factor, yeah, some of them, this definitely gives me a feeling without even looking at it of what's there, where the right placement is. By the way, you don't need to have those.
Exactly, that I had that into that position.
Yeah, so if you just do 1, 2.
Brian, circles were the rough spots, I thought.
Oh yeah, those circles were marked, I think, there might have been some imperfections in the wood. Like sometimes these things, like the best way is to get them uncut. I don't know if you can see how knobby this thing is. It has all kinds of like natural imperfections. And the problem is, our modern culture, if you ship an unfinished stick like this, then one person in the Midwest gets it and they go, oh, I wanted it to be smoothed down and machined, right? So of course they're going to machine them as opposed to sending them raw. These came via special, they came from China with somebody. The ones that we got off Amazon are white waxwood, but they have been machined. So those circled areas, might have been some type of, like, if you see these imperfections that have been cut off. It's been the drill, the lathe, or however they machine those things, has cut that off, and the wood there may have had like a little knot or something. So just be careful. You shouldn't have any splinters. After some time, I took pictures of these. The wood will change color. It will go from like that white color to like, if you from the oils in your hand. White waxwood is especially gets especially the oils really collect in the white waxwood. So yeah, something like that.
Yeah, this one, where those spots are, seems to be the perfect spot, and I can feel that rough spot as I go by.
Yeah, your hands are pretty. Your hands probably.
Nice coincidence.
What's that?
Yeah, it just worked out. And the Japanese Joe and Bo are tapered on both ends, hitting the center, and that's sort of the same concept. You can feel as you get into the 50th spot.
Yeah.
As you move. Like a guitar or a violin, musical instrument, they're fit at the top and pick that spot.
There's another. One of my favorite recommendations for practice is literally just using the thing, even if you're not doing the thing. So, like when I go walking, the reason my other stick isn't here is because it's in my car. I take it even to walk because I hold it to carry the weight. If I'm in nature, I want to move something with it. I have stick, and using it, feeling the weight. Just like how many here have owned a car for more than 5 years? After some time, you don't look at the controls. Your hand goes right to the thing. You can adjust the dial while you're looking in traffic because you know it so well. And Mark, I know you've practiced for a long time, so all this stuff probably repetition to you. But for the rest of the people on TV, in YouTube land, yeah. But for the rest of the people in YouTube land, just handling the thing will make you better at it, right? Just every time you hold it, every wah-bah, every time you pick it up. So that's why I recommend leaving your weapons somewhere very easy for you to grab them without being. One teacher says the weapons store chi. So you don't want them in your bedroom. You don't want a weapon next to your bed, even though it may feel safe. It's storing chi. So you put them somewhere next to the door, right? It's, nobody's going to disturb it. It's hidden. The bad chi can be there. The energy, the martial art chi can be there without affecting anything. So, yeah.
Hey, thanks. I gotta go.
Yeah, it's time. Let's do this. Have a great day. Thank you. Call, write, email if you have any questions. Thanks, guys.